Men say they want to be chased by a dominant man, but what happens when you fuck around and find out exactly how dominant he is? And then Nico's Aesthetics explores what happens when men get too pushy while trying to get the number. We're talking shooting shots and persistent tops tonight on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast, and the show starts right now. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at Jai the Gentleman. It's Monday, so it's time for a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. It's still our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is your midweek reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men who love black gay men. If you're watching the replay and want to skip to the main story, timestamps and chapters are in the description. I interviewed 20 self-professed good boys to see what they had to say about dominant men. I asked one very, very simple question. Do you prefer to be put in your place or do you willingly submit? My goal was to understand how subs prefer to be handled in black queer culture. Let me know in the chat if you're a good boy. Do you consider yourself a bratty sub or a willing sub? That's what I want to know. I see a couple comments. Comic Con says, I'm loving this hair. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love it too. I told y'all that I have been working on myself. I was watching back some footage from previous episodes and felt like I was so dusty. Like I was just so dusty in some of these old episodes. And so I said, let me get ready for my people. Because I want this to feel like a first date with Dear Black Gay Men every time we sit in the chair. So I said, let me put my good things on. And it's cuffing season. It's fall time. So I'm really excited to I can pull out the good shit in my closet. Holla at your boy says the conversations are something that need to be had because there is a lot of confusion that could be cleared up. Comic-Con. Let me see what Comic-Con said. Exactly how many times are we going to have this same damn conversation? Honestly, it's exhausting. Which part of it is exhausting? Let me know in the chat, Comic-Con. What part of it is exhausting? Earlier in the chat, holla at your boy said early bird does get the worm, so they say Panthro. Panthro was the first one in the chat today. I hope he's not driving. A King answered the question. Holla at your boy said love the sweater. Thank you so much. A King says you are bratty as fuck. What does that mean to you? So to recap, I did on Instagram, I did a poll of some of our followers, and I was looking for 20 people who say they are good boys. Now, mind you, here's the gotcha about that. You cannot say you are a good boy. Like if you say you're a good boy, you're doing it wrong. Someone else has to call you a good boy, and you have to earn that title. Like you can't just be like, oh, I'm a good boy. You could be bratty as fuck. You could be disobedient as fuck. And there goes your good boy-ishness. And so I wanted to know, how do we like to be dealt with in our culture? Comic-Con says all of it, to be honest. But, I've done prepared a whole show by now. So sorry to this man. My bad. I wish I had that. I have an applause button. But I mean, I got applause. Unfortunately, Comic-Con, we having a conversation tonight. But I wanted to know, how do we like to be dealt with in our culture? And I uncovered some very, very interesting nuggets of knowledge from these 20 good boys. And they were across the spectrum. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But are you a bratty good boy? Meaning you want a top to dominate you, to actively dominate you, to put you in your pace and make you feel some shit, right? And I don't mean it could be it could be some people have a pain kink. All of this is with consent, just be clear. All of this is with consent. But are you a bratty sub? Like put me in my place, or are you a willing sub? Because the fun fact about this is I am dominant, but I am not a strong power top. No, let me not say that. Because dominant and top do not always have to go together. But I am not the type of person that's gonna put you in your place. That just ain't my ministry. That's not the way that in which I express my dominance. I'm a very quiet, very laid back, very Some people call it a soft top or a soft dom. I don't know if that term fits me. I mean, other people would tell me better than I do, but I would say that I am a soft dom. Yeah, that's the best term I got right now. A soft dom, and I like a willing sub. I like an eager sub. I like somebody who wants to figure out how to best submit to me because I am actively trying to figure out how to best nominate them. I feel those energies work together. If you are too bratty, I ain't got time for it. My patience for that wears out too thin. I don't want let's argue about everything. Everything got to be a debate. Kind of that just ain't my vibe. My vibe is I want everything easy like Sunday morning, even though going to church every Sunday ain't fucking easy. Going to church and then here I am cussing about it. But let me know in the chat if you consider yourself a good boy. If you are a good boy, are you a bratty sub or a dominant or a willing sub? Because this is what I uncovered. If y'all are ready for it, I talked to 20 men who all identify themselves as wanting to be a good boy in an entanglement in a relationship situation. They like the term good boy being them. All 20 men I talked to said three basic things about dominance and submission. Once I started to probe a little deeper into what they thought it meant to be a good boy. Number one, they don't talk about being a good boy openly because it deals with BDSM. There is a lot of confusion in our culture, in Black queer culture, about BDSM. I did this interview with I went to Bulldogs and asked people, are they kinky? And while all of them said they do kinky things, not one of them wanted to ascribe to the term kinky because a lot of times in Black queer culture we take it to the extreme. We think kinky means people want to be into scat and needles and blood and being tied up and forgotten about and all these other things. When kink is such a huge spectrum. There is a huge world out there in kink that a lot of Black men do not participate in. And that was one of the reasons. Then number two, they all agree that bondage, domination, submission, and masochism, BDSM, is some white people shit. That was the one that I thought was most interesting. And then number three, despite all of that, they still like being called a good boy. And so my question for the chat becomes, if you like being called a good boy, why? What is it about the term good boy that you enjoy? I have heard from people, I'll tell you a little more about how the split when I did my poll, but I've heard from people that they like being called good boy because it's an identifier that they did a good job as a submissive or a receptive partner. They took the dick well. I've heard people say they like being called a good boy because they want to they fetishize earning something from their partner. I can tell you why I like calling people a good boy when they are doing something. But oh, hold on. Hold on. Joseph Whittingham said, I'm more bratty in relationship if it's just a hookup. Bratty in relationships, if it's just a hookup, I'm more of a good boy. Interesting, because I would assume that would be the exact opposite. He also said, I can't be a long-term good boy. Is it because you want to be dominant or because you want to be bratty? What for you is the impetus behind that? Do you want to be dominant, like I can't be a long-term sub, or is it I can't be a long-term or you got a mouth on you and you got a fly mouth and you want to be catty every once in a while? What is it that you're saying, Joseph? Let me know in the chat because I'm really curious about that. One thing that has been consistent every time that I have this conversation about dominance and submission among Black men is a lot of times people are convoluting dominance, sexual position, and masculinity. They're putting all those things together as if there cannot be a masculine bottom who's a dom, or there can't be a feminine top who is a sub, or a lot of times we just assume that these are interchangeable terms, that dominance means you are a top, means you are also masculine, and we can't mix those two things. And in my experience, some of the most dominant people that I've ever dealt with, whether they acknowledge it or not, have been the most feminine, makeup wearing, high heels wearing, lip gloss popping girls that I've ever met in my life. That's just my story. Comic Con says now I have to buy some star stickers. The highest one being gold. I think there's some context there that I might be missing. But go ahead and buy your stickers. Holla at your boy added. I can't disassociate good boy and boy in a racial sense. Now I have heard a lot of that. But the flip side of that is I've also been in very fetishized spaces that are homogenous black spaces. There is not a white or non-black body in the space at all. And we fetishize a lot of the power dynamics that go into how do I want to say? Like we fetishize the power dynamics. Granted enough, I have never done anything kinky with a non-black person, so I really don't know. Like I ain't participating in race play, or I ain't participating or and on top of that, just in general, while I have fucked white men, I could never be a sub for a white guy. I my spirit, I would be ancestrally triggered by that. If I submitted to a white person, that just would not ever work for me. And the interesting thing is we're going to be reacting to a video from Nico's Aesthetics. He did a whole conversation about this dude, Big C Man or Big something, but he's a white dude that is like the race play prince. And I immediately blocked that motherfucker. Immediately blocked that motherfucker. How dare you? My grandmama's grandmama would roll over my grave if I let somebody just call me up, all the things that go into race play. We're not gonna say those words on this channel, but how dare you? I would be ancestrally triggered if that happened. If I submitted to somebody who wasn't black. That's just me. Joseph Whittingham, he read me for filth the other day because he was like, I can't stand when you ask me a question, Jay, and you don't put up my response. So let me make sure I put up his response. He said, Joseph Whittingham said, being a true sub takes more work than I can provide long term, and yeah, I have a mouth on me. Fun fact, I just said you read me for filth. With love, I was not offended. I thought it was very funny, and I hope you was giving it as a joke too. But you got a mouth on you. A lot of us got a mouth on us. And the irony about that, hey Antonio, he said, and will never. Shout out to you. That is such a great profile picture. For those who don't know, Antoine is I know Antoine in person, and he is like a silver fox, like the dopest head of silver hair that you've ever seen in your life. It's so dope. Holla at your boy says, I'm not gonna lie, this content is hot, but I'll definitely watch it on mute. His content is hot, but I'll definitely watch it on mute. And see, if I know, let me tell you my truth. I'll tell you my truth. Like if I see an older white man, if I see an older white person in general, and when I say older, like 60 and plus. And now, mind you, this is for all the non-black people watching, that what I'm about to say is problematic, but white people don't age well. So if you 60 looking like you look, I just assume somewhere in your life you said the N-word. And I'm absolutely checked out. Like, I'm assuming that somewhere in your upbringing, somebody somewhere said it and you didn't stop them, or you said it yourself and nobody stopped you. I just assume that's the case, right? Because I had tell you this story. No, I won't tell you this story because it's not related, and I got ADHD and I'll end up on a tangent. But I just assume Antoine said, what's the point of watching if I have to watch it on mute? The only time that I will watch something on mute is Beyonce singing that song, Everybody on Mute. I'm horrible. I love Beyonce. I love Beyonce more than I can ever express. I love her music. I'm horrible with the name of a song. So I know the song that says Everybody on Mute. I can probably sing all the lyrics, but ask me what the name of the song is. I'll never get it. Panthro says I've done race play. Panthro is our resident person. Have you done race play with a white person, with a non-black person? That's my question. Who is this? This one says the bamboo said, I have only been called boy during sex when I was topping an older guy who likes to call me son and him my daddy. Honestly, at first I didn't like it because it felt pedo, but later it was kinky and hot. Dope. So when I use, let me not do that because I don't want y'all thinking I'm flicking y'all off. But when I use the term good boy, until you earn the good qualifier, you are boy. I might use a different adjective, but you gotta earn good boy fucking with me. And there are, as many ways to earn that as there are, stars in the sky. But I'm not just gonna. You don't default to good boy with me. Like you got to earn the identifier good boy, and you got to earn it on my level, on following my rules. And I will tell you, the irony is most of the men out, full disclosure, like of the 20, probably 8 of the men, because they all follow me on Instagram, I knew most of them personally. I knew about 8 of them personally. And the funny thing is, just looking back at who I was talking to, I was like, you like being a good boy? Like your mouth is so foul. Like how do you how are you authentically you and a good boy? You argue about every goddamn thing. You got an opinion about every fucking thing. Like I could not imagine somebody calling you a good boy unless you just totally shut the fuck up. And I think that a lot of people get confused, or maybe it's just they don't measure up to my definition of a good boy. But in my head, I'm just like, ugh, child. I mean, I hear it for you. It's just that's not the case. I will tell y'all one story. One person I talked to about this identifies as trans, and good boy, they fetishize good boy because it feels validating. It feels like they lean into the boy part of it, and then being good is just icing on the cake. But that's that. Let's keep going. Of the 20 guys, of the 20 good boys I talked to, they were split in a third. 7 of them said they prefer a dom to put them in their place, meaning they are a bratty sub who prefers a dom to actively dominate them. 7 others said they are naturally submissive, meaning they are a willing sub. They are coming into the situation trying to figure out how they can earn the term good boy. And then the following 6 said it depends on the other person. I can be bratty if you are a bitchy dom. I can be willing if you're a strong dom. They were kind of a mixed bag. So along those same lines, I want to know, I think I'm supposed to push a button. Along the same lines, let me know in the comments, what does good boy mean to you? If you like the term good boy, what does it mean? Let me know that in the chat. What does good boy mean to you? That came out small. My bad. Joseph Whittingham says it's always awkward to me when black guys make a thing about our race when we're both black. I'm like, where's this coming from? That's a good question. Again, I have not ever done anything kinky. Not race play, definitely, but I ain't did a single thing kinky. I have not been flogged. I haven't been edged. I haven't been tied up. I haven't been blindfolded. I haven't been any of these things with someone who I know to be non-black. Now, I will tell you, I have been to several glory holes, so who knows who's on the other side of that. But I ain't never did anything remotely kinky knowingly with a non-black person. And so in my head, race and race play never enters the chat because I'm black, you black. If you're a black queen and I'm a black queen, that's not a read, that's a fact. So I totally see what Joseph Whittingham is saying is if we all black or if we all are of the same ilk, then how did race become an issue here? But I will say that to the flip side of that, to play devil's advocate, there are several of us that are just triggered in general by certain racially charged language. Like the N word with a hard ER is always going to trigger me. And that can be a good thing or not, depending on who's saying it. But I'm always my antenna are gonna perk up if I walk into a room and hear the N word with a hard ER, because I'm gonna be looking, make sure ain't nobody that's ain't supposed to be saying it in here, right? Or there are a whole bunch of words that I might get canceled if I tell you what happened in the kink spaces. So I ain't gonna venture too far down there. But that is, I do totally get it. Now remember, if you've got an opinion about this or any topic that you hear tonight, you can go to livestream.dearblackgayman.com to join me on the show, and especially right after the break. The link is pinned in the comments and in the description. After the break, I'll be breaking down what I found. I'll be breaking down a video from one of my favorite creators, and we'll be having a discussion about that. We will be right back. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman, and I host all the craziness that happens right here in the back room. As far as I know, we are the only queer-led podcast that has its own studio in Atlanta. We party in the back room. We have a Kiki in the back room.
Get that gooch licked on or something. Like, figure it out. Like,
we have a cocktail in the back room.
Oh, that's really good.
That's what she said. And we grow in the back room. Every time y'all are here, every time you're here, you say something that I'm just like, that really happens? If you're in the Atlanta area, you want to join us in the back room, visit dearblackgayman.com/tickets to see what live shows and events we have coming up right here in the back room. Y'all are some kinky motherfuckers in this chat. Welcome back to Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. This is let me show y'all. Panthro, of course. Now, Panthro about as kinky as I am, so I ain't expecting anything less from Panthro. Panthro said, a man telling me I'm a good boy. He want all the smoke. Shaka 111 YT says, I've been called daddy and baby daddy, but we are both verse. Only I was bottoming majority of the time. Okay. I have never called a receptive partner daddy, but there is always a first time for everything. So I'm here for it. Bamboo said, but I'm curious, since we're talking about brats, do they earn good boy by listening to you as a dom in the moment, or a performance skill? I'm glad you asked. So earning good boy for me is not just sex. Like you will not be a good boy if you're just a one-time hookup and we've just been here, right? You only become a good boy if I have a rapport with you. And more importantly, the things that I require from a good boy extend far beyond sex. Like if I'm just gauging whether or not you a good boy from, the time we both got naked, that ain't a scene to me. Like, if you my boyfriend, my partner, if you're a regular, if I know your last name, if we have had a conversation about the things that you like to do, we have had a conversation about the things that you like to do, the things that I like to do, the things we like to do together. And then you can earn good boy in a million different ways. Fun fact, I've been in open relationships. And a lot of the men that I deal with, while I encourage you to explore your sexuality, I will never hold that against you, but you are a good boy when you hold that shit for me. I am, I like to be needed in a sexual situation. So if I get a text message that says I need my daddy, which I've gotten from somebody I've talked about on the Substack, that is good boy territory. You starting it on good boy territory, and that's long before I even think that you even want to do anything. Being a good boy for me is many levels, many layers. I've had people cook me a meal to earn the good boy title. But now here's the gotcha about good boy that a lot of this conversation does not deal with. In order for good boy to be charged with something, yes, there has to be an action that I, the dom, am requiring of the sub. But there has to be as valuable an action that I am giving to the sub as a reward. Niggas ain't gonna be out here just earning good boy so you can give them some lackluster fucking dick. No, you not, ain't nobody gonna be a good boy for somebody who can't put it down, who can't touch on something that's not basic. So I have to make sure that I have broad enough horizons that I'm coming to them with something valuable. But then, and that only is when I can require them to do something or be something or say or exist or express something that is good boy. It's good boy level. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, they gotta earn the good boy, but I gotta have something valuable enough to reciprocate. And valuable is not a big ass dick. And valuable is not a nice body. Valuable is not any of that shit. Bottoms need to be touched emotionally, mentally, physically. They need a whole experience. Like, I like edge and dick. I like the idea of bringing someone to climax. If you've been a good boy all week, I ain't gonna just jack your dick. I'm gonna edge you until you cry, until you begging me to let you come. If you've been a good boy, I am going to fuck you until you piss that bed. If you've been a good boy, I'm going to bring you flowers and candy and take you out on dates. If you've been a good boy, I'm going to give you everything I got because you've been a good boy. And I think the hard part about this dynamic is there's a whole crop of tops, a whole crop of downs that think them being a good boy means I just got to give them some dick at the end of the night. Like this 1950s and daddy bringing home the bacon and mama got to fry it up. No, nigga, he's a whole man. He is a whole self-sufficient person. And so in order for good boy to mean something, you got to bring him something he can't do for himself. And with all these toys out here, fleshlights and all the things, you got to come with the come on. And I don't think our culture is set up to require tops to step their pussy up. But again, this is just, me pontificating. I might be way off. But again, that's just me. I have gotten good boy treatment out of more people because I give them a dynamic experience. They know that is another half. That's the other half of the conversation. They give me good boy behavior because I can give them daddy. I have earned the right to give them daddy. And the funny thing about that is when it's somebody I'm dating, daddy has nothing to do with sex. I can't tell you how many times I've made somebody blush because I open car doors. I'm dating somebody now. He and I are together. He ain't touched a car door since I met him. I can't tell you how many people now they call me daddy because I'm the one making sure you got a drink when you out with your friends. I'm not out here kikiing at the brunch and doing girl talk. Like, I'm over here watching the game, playing Sudoku on my phone so you can have a good time and not worry about nothing. I'm breaking down boxes and taking out trash. I'm, making sure you got a full tank of gas and a car wash. Those are the things that make daddy daddy. And unfortunately, there's a lot of penetrative partners who do not understand that fucking a bottom well starts long before they start dushing. Fucking a bottom well starts with treating a bottom well. Treating a sub well. Being a good dom for a sub starts with treating a sub well. Knocking their socks off. Rising to the occasion. Doing what's necessary for this person in front of you. And a lot of people don't want to hear that shit. A lot of people just don't want to hear that shit. Let's see what Antoine Barbie said. Can we clone you? Sorry. I do have a brother, but he is married and he's straight. NYCBK70 said, Jay, you are projecting. Don't speak for bottoms because that may not be their truth. Okay. Is there a bottom in the chat that is proving me wrong, that disagrees? The beauty of the show is we got 102 people watching. If I'm wrong, y'all can just tell me. I can be wrong. I can be the drama. The Bamboo said, "You not off at all." Carlos said, "Seeing you in a suit in church and hearing you be real like this is refreshing to see vulnerability." You see me in church? I'll tell you, I can't see faces and whatnot. So, but yes, I was wearing a suit in church yesterday. The Bamboo said, "Yes, symbiosis. I just bought that word of the day, word of the other day. The chemistry, it needs to be undeniable on both sides." Yes. I will say, Comic-Con said, "Preach, preacher." What I have learned is in our culture, because I've talked to so many of us, and I think this might be one of the reasons why Comic-Con at the beginning said we got to have this conversation again. What I've learned, and again, this is just my experience, is oftentimes tops overvalue dick and undervalue hole. And bottoms co-sign on that shit. And I have learned that I give a better performance as a penetrative partner, as someone who tops and someone who calls himself dominant, when I realize that my partner, regardless of position, is the prize, and I govern myself from that space. Even if it's just a hookup, the person that is laying down or standing up or whatever with me is the prize. And if I am approaching this as if I'm trying to knock your socks off, and you are then approaching this as you're trying to knock my socks off, then the good boy and daddy and all of that becomes second nature. It feels a lot more natural. But that is that on that topic, because I just, had a whole 10-minute rant. My bad. Okay, it's time for church announcements. Hit it. Every week, I write about the ups and downs of my dating journey on our blog on Substack. It's a deep dive into my emotional and sexual trials as I manifest my man in 2020. I'm not manifesting my man. I got a man. I'm very excited about that. But you can hear about the stories that I go through. This one is called "How I'm Supporting My Boyfriend's Journey to Become a Non-Monogamous Slut." I will tell you this. So for people who know me, the people who know me most and well know that I am not a monogamous person. I do not subscribe to monogamy for me. I believe it works for those who want it. It's just I ain't one of them. And so I am walking through the journey with my significant other as he finds his bearing in this thing. Now, he is not as open as I am, but what I appreciate the most about him is he is open to the journey. And who knows where we'll land, but until I'm not making a decision for us until he has opportunity to explore his sexuality in a relationship. And so I'm really excited about it. And that's what I wrote about. But I will tell y'all this. Tomorrow, November 4th, is election day. There are early voting has concluded in Georgia, but I'm understanding that early voting has concluded in a whole lot of jurisdictions. And so if you have not voted yet, tomorrow is a big day. Remember, there are federal legal protections to ensure everybody has opportunity for their voice to be heard. I want to make sure everybody got an "I voted" sticker. So we will not be having a show tomorrow. I want you to I want you to vote. I want you to watch the elections in your area, and I want you to make sure that your civic duty is done. So we will not be having a show tomorrow, but Wednesday I will be right over there on the chairs, and we'll have a room full of guests because we got a big show on Wednesday. More information on that is going to be on my Instagram. And Thursday we will have our show, Unscripted Thursdays, right here on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. You can join for mess up that transition, but here we are. Okay, hear me out. 4 people in the past 3 days have told me that I was the best sex they ever had. As much as I don't want to brag, I fully acknowledge that it's a flex, and I'm very proud of it. Now, that could mean that they've had some trash dick in their life, or that could mean that I'm really good. I don't know. Admittedly, though, I don't have the biggest dick. I do have a big ass, but I don't bottom. So if bigger dicks and fatter asses exist, what makes mine so good? I finally got to talk to one person who said that I have had the best sex that they've ever had. And I wanted to ask him what made my sex so memorable. And he told me it boiled down to 3 basic qualities of good sex, but tops tend to fuck it up in some really interesting ways. Number 1, mastering the equipment you're blessed with. I've interviewed 20 bottoms before to figure out that a good 7 inches with some girth to it is the best size. That's what they tell me. But that all depends on how secure the man with his 7 inches is. Bottoms can feel when you're a 7 trying to act like you're a 9, or a 10 that thinks he's a 6. Tops don't get cool points for being bigger, but they do get cool points for being better with the equipment they've provided. Then number 2, listen to a bottom's body. Moans mean things. Screams mean things. Silence means something. Tops are usually the ones doing all that talking during sex. So if we're looking for bottoms to talk back to us the way that we talk to them, then you're probably not doing it right. A top's job is to listen to everything a bottom's body, his mind, and his whole is saying. Then respond. Then number 1, eat it. 1.1 million people have watched me say that I eat for my own pleasure on Instagram. When you think you've eaten enough, eat it some more. I would wager there is not a bottom on the planet who will say no to more tongue action. I've talked about how I bring bottoms pleasure on Substack. If you want the link to the story, comment bottom and I'll DM it to you. Follow for more dope queer stories. The best way to support what we do here on Dear Black Gay Men is to become, I'm wearing that sweater now, is to become a YouTube member. Members get access to exclusive conversation, the members only chat, behind the scenes content, and you can join me right here to chop it up on the show. And a portion of your memberships will be donated to an Atlanta area nonprofit providing HIV prevention and care in gay culture. Just hit the join button below this episode or send a super chat of any amount. For all the latest updates, follow me everywhere on socials at JAI the Gentleman on Instagram and Threads. That concludes our church announcements. Please govern thyself accordingly, and we will be right back. What is stigma? I truly believe that it comes up when you think something can't happen to you. Like when we think we could never be femme, so we end up with femphobia laced all up and through our dating profiles. Or when we don't be out there like that, so we slut shame people for doing openly what we try to sneak and do privately. But there aren't too many spaces where stigma rises to a criminal level like it does with HIV.
Knowingly gave her HIV and never told her he was infected.
We're talking to 4 black men from across the country, all living with HIV. I want to see how stigma comes up in their lives and what we can all do to overcome it. Welcome back to the Black Gay Man Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. There is a comment from Joseph Whittingham that I have to say. He said a Virgo would turn a few compliments into an Excel chart. Abso-fucking-lutely. When I tell you that made me chuckle so deep, that made me chuckle absolutely deep. Again, y'all might be reading me for filth, but I don't have a frame of reference. You gotta like tell me this is a read in order for me to process that it's offensive. Otherwise, I'm just vibing with y'all. Cause I mean, that's what we're here to do. Okay, Nico's Aesthetics has popped in the comment section of one of our shows last week, and I totally fanned out. Because Nico's Aesthetics, he's like the right amount of content creator. He's got big titties and he's got a nice body. And then of course I've seen him naked because I subscribe to his adult accounts, and then I listen to him on Patreon. I am a Nico's Aesthetics fan. And out of my new best friend in my head, I'm reacting to another piece of his content. The description says a brief breakdown over the most recent viral story surrounding a young man named Chance who seems to look for love at any cost. Now, I haven't seen this. I do not know this story, but this has been sent to me about 10 times. And when we led the show with doms and subs and how that dynamic plays out, this seemed to be a good compliment. So we shall see what the story is. Y'all can let me know if you know what it is in the chat. Here we go. Already. Of course, he'd be based in Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta. I think, like, y'all ever seen those reels and memes that be like, Atlanta ain't a real place. If you don't live in Atlanta, follow ATL Scoop on Instagram. And when I tell you, Atlanta ain't a real place. It's just not a real place. They say there's no volume. My bad. Let me see what I can do. I'm gonna play it. I can hear it, so I'm gonna see what I'm gonna figure it out.
It's just unfortunate that he seems to scare all the hoes away. Nico, what do you mean? So, surviving chance, the hashtag went viral months ago. And it's because this boy is allegedly off his rocker. And I say that not because, actually, no, he did do something even crazier. It's because he will bombard you with messages when you're not responding, curse you out, call you slurs, call your phone via different apps, email you, and then be mad when you quote unquote ghost him. So
let me pause right there. So for those who have not heard it. Okay, sound is working out. Good. Okay. Now I will say, let me tell you a story about a friend of mine. Friend of mine does not live in Atlanta. Comes to the city, visits Atlanta, and as every single black gay person does in Atlanta, they have some sex, right? And he has told me horror stories about how the niggas here are just crazy. Like, people will block him when they find out, like, they have good sex with him, have a good entanglement, find out he ain't from here. And one dude blocked him while he's still in the house because they dick hurt because they can't fuck him again, or because he don't live here. All the things. The niggas in Atlanta can be off their fucking rocker, depending on how you depending on what circles that you are spinning in. Is that y'all experience? Because I feel like it's pretty common in gay culture that everybody has an Atlanta nigga story. Please tell me that I'm not the only one that got Atlanta nigga stories. Carlos said they are totally. And Carlos just said he saw me at church. So if us Atlanta niggas is like, Atlanta niggas can be crazy. What is it about it here? What is it about being in Atlanta Metro that makes us so fucking off our rocker? I don't get it. Carlos said, I've done that if the dick is garbage. I just love this conversation. I just love this show. You ever had a few Atlanta experiences? Were they of the crazy variety? I shouldn't keep saying crazy because that's apparently a derogatory term for people who have mental health issues. But were they of the unorthodox variety? Holla at your boy. J926 says, I don't hear a lot of positive things about the Atlanta gays. I don't either. And I am one of them now. I ain't from Atlanta, but I live here and I've been here 10 years now. So I guess I can't deny it no more. But I have not heard a whole bunch of positive stories about the men in Atlanta. I've heard great things about the culture in Atlanta, but I have not heard a whole lot of positive stories about the men here. And I wonder, is that everybody else's experience or am I the oddball? I can be the oddball. I don't mind. Let's keep going.
This all started months ago, and I saw people talking about surviving chance, and I was like, okay, well, if it's not anything dangerous or anybody's safety is at risk, I'm not going to put someone on blast because they just can't pick up on social cues. But in this situation, it crossed the line of simple annoyance into danger when someone came forward and said, Chance and I talked briefly via DMs. I was originally interested in him.
I fucked with this boy mad long time on some chill shit before seeing Surviving Chance. I told him just friends with benefits. We fucked around for a week. Then it became a clingy thing. He began to harass me once I cut things off. A month later, he finds my dorm and shows up knocking uninvited. Okay, this has happened. This has happened to me. Can I tell y'all the story? Okay. So I was dating someone. We were dating, but it wasn't a couple weeks, and we were more than just chilling. We were legitimately dating. I was dating someone, and they dumped me. They broke up with me, said that how did it go? I don't remember the parameters to which they dumped me, but they broke up with me. They initiated a separation, and then I do remember. I ain't gonna tell you the details of that, but they initiated a separation. I was going through some shit, not mistreating them. I was not mistreating them. I was going through grief, and they took it upon themselves to break up with me in that situation. 4 days later, they show up at my house. Outside my house with a backpack. And in my head, immediately, I'm thinking, I hope he don't got a gun or a bomb or, something that would cause destruction. I have been there. I've had people knocking on my door. I have had people showing up to my house unexpected. I have had all of those things. My best friend will jokingly say, that's what you get for giving husband dick out for people who don't deserve it. But the gotcha about this particular story is he and I were dating. That's a long comment, Carlos. I don't know if I can put that up. Carlos says, I have my own medical practice and manage an entire Ulta and own a UPS, a devout Christian, submissive when you can make me a sub. I have my own car and home, so I don't know why I get crazies legit. But again, crazies or dick or ass that is straight trash. That is what is attracted to me. Now hold on. I don't think that's just what it's attracted to you. I ain't gonna manifest that in your life. But one thing I will say is we all have to be a lot more diligent of when we see crazy coming across the street. There's something about one thing that I've noticed about men who dating them is unorthodox. There are red flags that pop up all the time. Like for me, the red flag with this particular person I'm talking about, we broke up several times. And what I learned from that is if you can walk away from me once, you need to stay away. I do not let someone break up with me and come back. That is a lesson I had to learn, and it took this particular instance to teach me. But I needed to pick up on those red flags along the way. And that was my bad. But I ain't gonna say that I attract, like I'm a magnet for crazy. I am gonna say I was a magnet for that particular lesson. Now there are many aspects of this person that I will not date. Like I no shade to those who are Leos, but me and Leo we're not dateable. Like I can fuck with you, we can not fuck you, but I can fuck with you, we can be friends. But me and Leos, me and Geminis, we not dating again ever. But now one thing I will also add is sometimes we like a little crazy. Sometimes we like a little air mattress tea. We like a little air mattress entanglement. We like a little, that's how I know he loved me. Some of us have a thing for that. Comic-Con says, and this is why I don't do all that friends with benefit shit. No, sir, you will not have me in an emotional upheaval, then try to play in my face. Shout out to you for the word upheaval in the chat. Shout out to upheaval. We use master's level language on this chat, on this show. I'm here for it. The Bamboo said, what's it about a Leo? Okay, so again, I will tell you this, and I'm only saying this because Gemini is my experience are legit crazy, so I get that. Now, this is what I said. I explained my theory about Geminis the other day. I'll send you a link if you want to hear like why I believe Gemini are misunderstood. Leos, this is what I've learned. Leos do not have a frame of reference that says somebody else's perspective on a matter can be valid. If a Leo believes 2 + 2 is 4, and I think 1 + 3 is 4, a Leo will make up in their mind the only way to get to 4 is 2 + 2. Both of these things can be right, but because a Leo came up with 2 + 2, they cannot see any other version of this. The person that I'm talking about in this particular story, I used to tell him all the time when we were in conflict, I said, explain this problem to me in a way where you're not in the middle of it. Explain this problem to me where you are not the center of attention in this situation. If you can give it to me to where this problem is valid from anybody else's perspective and yours, then I'll deal with it. Because the problem that he and I ran into is he could not see someone else's perspective as valid. And so unless I totally relented, unless I just gave up my opinion and accepted his as the truth, then we were going to be stuck in an argument, which is again why I don't fuck with Leos. Not on an emotional level. But the irony is my niece is a Leo. I have a sister that's a Leo. And I love them dearly. So here we are. But let's keep going with Nico.
Him, but we only really messed around for a week and then we just decided to keep it as friends with benefits. But he was obsessive. It shows that he had called this boy's phone dozens of times. He had emailed him. He had messaged him on Instagram, tried to video chat on Instagram, and eventually he popped up outside of this boy's dorm room. Nico, what do you mean? He got onto campus, went into the dorms, and waited for him outside of his door. He even has...
You know, I'll say this. The unfortunate part about my job is, no, I'm not going to say the unfortunate. The fortunate part about my job is I really do be trying to see how dope it is to be Black gay men and to love Black gay men. And what I've learned is when people resort to whatever this person is demonstrating, Chance, he is trying to tell the world, I really just want to be loved. The unfortunate part about his story, about this story as Nico is explaining it, is Chance really wants to be loved. Somewhere in his upbringing, somewhere in his story, I would wager that he really authentically just wants somebody to see him, to love him. And unfortunately, the story that I hear a lot of in our culture is, I don't even see myself. And we end up in these very tumultuous relationships when we want people to love us to a greater degree than we love ourselves. That has been my story. That is my actual story. I wanted someone to love me into self-acceptance, to love me into value, into understanding my self-worth. I wanted someone to love me into that because I had never been in a situation where somebody saw me, loved me, valued me. I've never been in this. I didn't know that loving me was possible. And a lot of people end up in a situation where they just really want to be seen and loved and appreciated. And what they're doing is chasing after it in a way that is unhealthy because they ain't never had it. They ain't never seen it. They've never been in a situation where it was possible. I would bet money that's what's going on with Chance. Let's keep going.
Has a picture of him sitting on the floor. And normally I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but seeing as how Chance has a history of bombarding and stalking people, I can't really say this is unfounded because he tried to respond. He said, well, you originally started talking to me first, and then I messaged you to get your Instagram.
Oh, Chance said something. He said, what does it say? I took an Uber to his dorm, and campus security later called me another one to go home. Security confirmed I wasn't breaking in, treated me kindly, and helped calm me down. We talked respectfully about boundaries and agreed we weren't right for each other. Keep going, Nico.
And then from there, we just left on good terms. And I'm like, okay, you decided that y'all weren't going to communicate anymore, that it wasn't working. But that still doesn't excuse you popping up at his dorm and being there until you were escorted off the premises. Because he even said,
let me say, po Chance. I want more for Chance. I want more for him. I want more. AJ King says, sitting over here waiting on the one that'll understand this Leo. Are you a Leo? 820? Is the 8201? Is that your birthday? 820? I'm assuming that's 91 because I would not say that you're 81. You could be 2001, be 24 years old. Who knows? I would hope you're not watching me and you 2011. Panthro said Lord. But yes, po Chance. He So let's go back to the topic of this. When does persistence become harassment? I think we can all agree that finding someone's address, breaking into their dorm room building, breaking into any person's building and waiting outside of their apartment or dorm room door, I think we can all agree that is inappropriate. But where in a normal situation does the line between persistence and harassment, where does that lie? Like if I'm in a club and I see old boy from across the way, give you an example. Like there is a party that I go to regularly. And there's this dude there, and he'll stand and he'll stare and he'll smile, but he won't never say nothing. He's not tremendously attractive to me. And so I'm just like, okay, bro, what are you giving? Like, I really want to be like, what the fuck do you want? But I wouldn't say that he is harassing me. He's just over there smiling and nodding for hours on end. Like, at what point in the process do y'all think that it goes from persistence to harassment? Because I can also hear a whole bunch of people in the chat, in many chats that we've done previously, talking about how they want somebody to chase them a little bit. They want somebody to be persistent. The Bamboo said, nah, hold on, what the Bamboo say? He said, nah, Jay, those are his lessons. Ain't no way you caught up in all that without contributing to it some way. Contribute to my story, like the dude that popped up in my house. Oh yeah. I learned my lesson. Absolutely. I contributed to it because we dated for a long time, and there is no situation there is no space in a dating situation where every problem belongs to one person. If we both here, we both contributed to it. The second thing is, if I didn't contribute to it, I tolerated it. And those were two of my problems. I contributed to his insecurities in some way. He poked at my insecurities. We had trauma bonded over the course of our relationship. And then I tolerated him being up and down and left and right all the time. So all of that was my fault. Fully acknowledge that. Panthro said, that's why I give guys my Google Talk number. Now I will tell you something. If I'm hooking up with somebody and it turns green, I'm not hooking up with you no more. Holla at your boy says, I feel like persistence versus harassment is a thin line. I agree. Now, I would say, now, like the example I just gave about the dude in the club, he is nowhere near harassing me. He is not speaking to me. He didn't touch me. He didn't come up to me. He's just standing over there being weird. But I do think it's just a fine line between turning it into from harassment to from persistence to harassment. Comic-Con said when the physical attraction is not there, that's when it goes from persistence to harassment. NYC BK70 said, I need background info. What lies have Chase been told to engage with his body? David Glover said, love, love, love this sweater. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The turtleneck or the cardigan? Because I got two on because the air is on in here. And I thought, so for those who don't know, just light sidebar, because again, ADHD, but I keep the air on in here because the lights are hot. And so even though it is 40 something degrees outside, I still got the air on in here under these lights. And I just happen to be wearing a turtleneck, a knitted turtleneck, a cardigan, and some slacks on the bottom. I also have a puffer coat. So, and the puffer coat is pink. I'll tell you that, with pink Jordan. So I felt very cute today. But, the Bamboo says social cues I gotta learn through experience to realize when you're playing the game of love, when you're playing solo and looking crazy. I agree. AJ King says, damn no, I take the Samsung shot. Let me accept my fate, LMFAO. Now again, now we don't have to get off on a tangent, but I will say, because again, I'm the one on the mic, I don't believe Apple is better than any other brand of phone. You find the phone that works best for you. If you a Samsung girly, be a Samsung girly. What I will say though, where Apple got everybody beat is the fact that everything in my life just works. The teleprompter I'm talking to you on is an iPad. I'm here at my MacBook. I got an iPhone here. I got a Mac Studio over there. I've got another iPad over there. I've got an iMac at my house. All of them talk to each other. All of them work together. I don't know if any other brand of anything got an ecosystem like that, but that is a totally unrelated topic. My bad. Honorary Celestial Unicorn said, where did this guy get his psychology degree from? Are you talking about me or Nico? Because my degree is from the University of Texas in psychology. Is there any other questions? Okay. J926 says, I would never show up to a guy's house. Not only is it harassment, but I just know my worth. Never chase someone that doesn't want to be kept. Agreed. Now I will tell you, J926, that was a lesson that I just had to learn. And that is why I have just a little bit of grace for this Chance character, because learning one's worth, one's value, one's self-esteem is a hard lesson to learn. Because if the world, especially for Black men, if the world has been set up to diminish your worth, and you have at some point either accepted that truth about yourself, then it is really, really difficult to unlearn that. It is so fucking difficult to unlearn that. And so it's at my big age, having a podcast, talking to people all the time, had to just learn that my worth was not where I was expressing. One other very valuable lesson is I started realizing all the little lies that I tell myself. Cause I'm with this man, he not doing right by me. But I keep telling myself, I love him, I love him, I love him. And the truth is, I don't really love him. I just got used to him being there. And I had to put all that together. Let's keep going.
Oh, I didn't get in trouble. They weren't mad. They just asked me to leave. I'm like, well, girl, yeah, they're going to get mad if you refuse to leave. But this isn't new behavior. Nico, I've talked about it a few times on this channel where there are stalkers. And I will give you my own experience, just based in Atlanta. I remember when I was working for Atlanta Black Pride with Jacked, I was handing out merchandise and someone came up to me. They were like, "Oh, I thought you were very handsome and wanted to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, cool. Yeah, here's my Instagram." The boy hovered. "Nico, what do you mean hovered?" He stood across from the tent where I was handing out merchandise and he eyed me. He stared at me angrily anytime someone would walk up to get merchandise and to talk to me at the tent while I was working.
Been there.
And I say that was in Atlanta because a few men from Atlanta that have shown interest in me are very persistent. And the persistence usually crosses over into annoyance because they don't take the hint that you're not interested. And I understand the conversation of telling somebody you're not interested.
Yep. I will tell y'all that has absolutely been my experience. People will try to get my number, try to get in contact with me before the podcast, before any of that, when I was, 60 pounds lighter and had bad skin. Like, people would hover because a lot of times in this city, I will say, and it's just my experience, in this city, because black gay men are ubiquitous, a lot of people want to put their stake in the ground. They want to piss on your leg and claim you as theirs long before you are actually theirs, and whether or not there is any mutual attraction. I've got your number, so you need to be with me the whole night, because a lot of people from this place date from a very insecure position. And the unfortunate part about that is every aspect of that is unfortunate. And so what Nico was talking about, this experience that he's talking about, I've had it too. And Nico is way more well known than I am, but if I've had the experience, I can only imagine who else has. And I'm just regular. Bishop Fish, University of Texas. Oh my God, we wait our whole lives for someone to give us a moment like that. I felt amazing. Sure. NYCBK70 said issues most of the time being not being transparent about wanting the person's body parts and not the person. I talk about that all the time. Fucking parts and not people. A person doesn't know the person, therefore you don't know what you're getting or could be the person. Heard, receive. But I do think our culture is just built on fucking parts and not people. ATL do have crazy guys, yes. Holla at your boy says Jay cleared it. I did not mean to. I hope I didn't come across that way, but it was a question and I answered it. Honorary Celestial Unicorn, what is the clinical definition of trauma bonding? What is your definition of trauma versus clinical term for trauma? I am not a clinician, nor do I position myself as such. Why are you asking? What are you trying to get at? Honorary Celestial Unicorn, help me understand so we can dialogue about this. What are you getting at? Where is this line of questioning? Where are you attempting to get with this line of questioning? Help me understand so we all can participate in it. Holla at your boy said, yeah, we all come here to mingle. They definitely want to claim stakes immediately. I just think that unfortunately a lot of men in Atlanta want to make a possession of a person. Fun fact, so I started dating somebody. I call him Ryan on Substack, but he and I are together now. And one of the first serious conversations, not an argument, not a disagreement, we were very much on the same page. But what he told me we were talking about monogamy versus open. And I told him, your body is yours. You are your own person. I want to be with you. I don't want to own you or claim you. And in the conversation, I can remember him telling me that he didn't say it in these words, but he said, I've never heard it that way. But yes, I'm trying to be with you. You are a whole person. You have agency. You have thoughts and feelings and wants and needs and aspirations. And I want to be with you, but I don't want you to be mine. So when it comes to what you do with your body, those are decisions you can make. We can be in agreement about how you make those decisions, but the decision is ultimately yours. And my job is to respect your decisions. But I think a lot of people in Atlanta, and it might be other cities as well, but Atlanta definitely has a crop of people who want to own someone. They want to own and take possession of someone in the dating process. And I don't think that's healthy. That's definitely not healthy for me. That don't jive well with me. Let's keep going for one more bout at this.
Is debated amongst the community, especially when it comes to app culture. But in this moment, Chance in particular messages people dozens of times without a singular response. And I feel like people need to start picking up on, maybe this person isn't into me. I always talk about being able to handle rejection, but I feel like what's worse than not being able to handle rejection is not understanding when you are being rejected. Because if you are messaging somebody back to back to back to back to back, multiple days at a time, calling them on the phone, calling them through apps, using their email to try to reach them, they are not interested in you.
I will tell you that it's unfortunate that Nico had to say that, but I'm glad he did. I'm glad he said it. But if you want to watch the Nico's full video, we got almost through it, but if you want to watch the full video, it is linked in the description. And if you about that life, you can join me right here on the show by going to livestream.dearblackgaymen.com. We will be adding people to the show after the break. The link is pinned in the description, pinned in the comments, and it is in the description. And we will be right back. What up, y'all? I need your help. There's this new feature on YouTube that can help us grow as a channel. It's called Hype. It's free. I've seen it work on small channels just like ours, but it only works if we all do it. Antonio Speaks is a channel that I follow. He started at 20K subscribers when I hit the subscribe button, and I've seen him get 1,000 new subs in a day. Hundreds of thousands of new viewers. On YouTube, right next to the like and share, there's this new button called Hype. The more a video gets hyped, the higher it will rank on YouTube. The higher we rank, the more people get to see our content, the faster Dear Black Gay Men continues to grow. Like this video right now. When you see Dear Black Gay Men content on YouTube, even if you've watched it already or attended the live, like the video, drop a comment, and click the hype button. I appreciate y'all more than I can express. Let's get to 20.
We ain't never had a conversation this good.
Start fighting and it's over nothing. Like, why?
Nothing was off limits.
What do you look for? Top thing, first thing. You scrolling on the apps and you like, how has HIV impacted your dating life?
Then it got a little petty.
Worked the same way that the negative hoe worked. But I said,
celebrating National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. It's the HIV Talk on Dear Black Gay Men podcast.
Before we head out, let's comment on comments. Hit it. The comments keep the conversation going through the roof right here on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. If you have an opinion on the topic or you want to add your 2 cents to the conversation, go to livestream.dearblackgaymen.com to join us live on the show right now. I will say there's a couple comments I wanted to add. Chris Pine said earlier in the show, I only want to be called good boy after he directly spits in my mouth. I will tell you, the way that the kinky shit that people like to do is spit. Oh my God, that is eye opening to me. I ain't know half the things that the boys like. I did not know spitting in somebody's mouth is a thing. Do y'all like that? I think low key we have a degradation kink in Black queer culture. The Bamboo said, in my personal experience, being called good boy, it was only a thing when I was doing my job well enough to be told I was a good boy, like you would be a reward, a pup or dog. Now, I don't go to the pup dog aspect, but I do, like I was saying, in my experience, good boy only matters when two specific needs are met. A, the sub understands the course of action necessary to earn the title good boy, but also that the dom can provide some type of reward for such behavior that is important enough. Like, you can't just be a good boy on some bullshit. And that's, my experience. Joseph Whittingham said, I'm the opposite. My sex with Black guys is usually so normative. I think the younger guys are bringing the kink though. I just don't love younger guys. Now, I will tell you this. that is directly in line with my experience. Black men who are 30 and younger usually have a broader definition of kink or of sexuality, sexual expression than some of the men my age. But also, let me add one layer to it. So I used to work in HIV prevention. I used to do HIV testing, and we'll go to the conferences and all this. And when you are sitting across the table from, client A, and he tells me that I like to be pissed on, and then client B says I just got fisted, and client C says I did Truvada, meth, MTV, meth, Tina, and Viagra, so I can take dick all weekend. You tend to have a very broad sense of sexuality. I have not done everything that people have told me, but I definitely have heard the gamut. So now when you tell me that you end up getting spit on and pissed on and you like taking this or that or all the things, it does not faze me. And it really helped me figure out where in the sexual expression that I lie. But I haven't found too many people that did not also have that same HIV prevention experience that have like these broad sexual horizons. Bamboo also said, I was a person against open relationship until I was in one. I enjoyed a certain level of comfort and communication. Now, I will tell you, that is the thing that keeps me in open relationships. I do not care that someone is having sex without me, that I'm dating. I don't stake claim or ownership over someone's body or their decisions to that degree. But I don't want to be boxed in to where I can't have a conversation about what I'm attracted to, conversation about what I like, and even if it doesn't involve you. I don't want to have that level of restriction put on my sex life or my love life. I want us to be open enough to where we can talk about all the things and we can turn these conversations into action if we agree to it. But oftentimes in my experience, people who default to monogamy want to X out so many different levels of expression that all of a sudden it feels like the relationship is restrictive. And I don't think any black man can thrive in a restrictive atmosphere. A King, you just changed your name, or did it change for you? A King like royalty said that combination of substances seems intense. I'm sure it does. I have not done meth ever because I no shade to anybody who uses substances, but I legitimately just have be scared of my teeth getting messed up, and I don't think I would be as confident talking to y'all if my teeth was like. I watched Breaking Bad and I seen one too many meth mouths to be like, it works. Holla at your boy says, well, it was with a white gay, so that tracks Panther. That's a conversation. There's some context there. Blue Vid 588 says, I'm gonna have to watch a replay. I will tell you, the replay of this one's gonna be a good one. Panther said, leave me and my white daddies alone. Full disclosure, you can have all of them. Honorary Celestial Unicorn says, so you have not had the experience, but talk about them in a heteronormative manner. So you like heteronormative gay relationships. Is that for me? Are you talking to me? Honorary Celestial Unicorn. Who is that directed to? So I know how to respond. A King says they finally changed the show. Got you. Carlos says, I want to link with you on a project. I inboxed you. I'll check it after the show. Appreciate it. Holla at your boy says, I love a hairy white daddy. Okay. I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum. That's one of those, if you like it, I love it moments. And I think we all know what that means from black people. It's insecurity and fear of replacement or losing your relationship to someone else. I had to. Honorary Celestial say, oh, you're trying to understand me. Okay, let me double tap there before we finish. So I will tell you that I am a very binary person in relationships. I do subscribe to a lot of the traditional roles that a man will play in a relationship, and I give my partner the space to subscribe to whatever roles he plays. I have dated people who like to cook and clean and they want me to make the money and bring home the bacon. I've also dated people who do not cook nor clean. and we had to figure out our dynamic. So yes, I know that I'm a very binary person when it comes to how my relationship is set up. I do not, however, think that works for everybody. Nor do I care the dynamic of someone else's relationship. I think the way when I step out of what you would call traditional values or heteronormativity is I'm not tremendously masculine, but I am very dominant, and I don't bottom that often, but I will if I need to, if someone important to me asks for it. So yes, I do blend it all together. But one thing I will point out that matters to me that's assumed in your question is that there is a problem with someone who subscribes to heteronormativity. I do not subscribe to that. If heteronormativity works for you and you have a very top-bottom man-woman dynamic in your relationship, that's your relationship. I do not open my relationship. I do open my relationship up for the commentary of others, but I don't try to impute my values onto anybody else's relationship. I encourage every person to define relationship, define sexual position, define mannerism, define dominance or submission, define all these terms for themselves. I've just decided what works for me. Earth signs like those traditional earthly values. It could be attributed to the fact that I'm Virgo. I do not know. Nor do I care, but I just know what values work for me. Now, the fun fact about that is, though, when I'm with someone who I can trust, I get very, very submissive. You can edge me until I cry, and I will be a subby, slutty bottom who will drift into subspace and do whatever the fuck you tell me to do. But full disclosure, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. And that applies all day, every day. But if you can't tell me what to do, you just can't fucking tell me what to do. That is my norm in everything, in every situation. Okay, teammates. Last two comments. Honorary Celestial Unicorn said it's just that's not the traditional homosexual relationship. I don't tremendously like the term homosexual in general, so there's that. And then J926 last comment says, agreed, people should do what works for them without passing judgment onto others. To be honest, I prefer something different. Very fair. I appreciate that. One thing that I love about this show is everybody's different all the time. So I'm not gonna put no more comments up because we got to go. Okay, teammates, I appreciate you. That was our show. I am Jay the Gentleman. We'll be right back here with another episode on Wednesday. Tomorrow is election day, so make sure on November 4th you have a plan to vote. You have a civic obligation. Make sure you are doing your civic duty. And then we will be right back here on Wednesday for a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. We go live at 9 p.m. Eastern. For more exclusive conversations and content, join me on Substack at dearblackgaymen.substack.com. The link is in the description. I appreciate you all more than I can ever express. I will see you next time. Bye.